Today we're talking about how the INFJ overcomes boredom with their life. So many INFJs that I talk to tell me, my life seems so boring. I don't want this anymore. I want to change it. I want to feel alive again. I want to feel like how I felt when I was a child. And I remember feeling just like that before I started making all of those changes in my life. And this boredom was so prevalent that I thought there's no way I could get rid of it. I just had to accept it. That my life wouldn't get any better, that this is all there was, and that I just have to settle for it because there was no way out. What I wasn't aware of, that I was just living within this small box of possibilities. And one of the main reasons why I had put myself in that box was because I'm an INFJ and because looking at what is possible around me wasn't mirroring back to me what I needed to do as an INFJ to change that. Now I know it is possible to do it differently. I see it with my clients, I see it with the INFJs that I work with in boot camp, that those changes will really bring out the excitement in your life. And isn't that what it's all about? To actually experiencing life as something exciting, no matter what that means to you, as long as you feel like, okay, I love waking up. I can't wait for the day to start. I can't wait to do all of those things that I have set out to do. That's the goal. That's what makes us feel alive. This is what we want in order to experience life to the fullest. And we know all those things that we think are going to get us there that are just shortcuts, like, watching TV or doing some other things that are not really helping us. They're just, numbing us out. They're just like the short-term relief, but they're not the thing that allows us to finally get rid of that boredom. Today, we're going to talk about how we can make that happen as INFJs. Remember, if you want some more guidelines, how to start that process today, besides this video, then download the poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. And if you're ready to take it on in a big way, then work with me one-on-one. All the information you find in the links in the description. It seems like INFJs are way more bored with their life than most people. And it's not only the fact that we think about life a little bit more than most people. See, most people are really ignorant to the fact if their life is boring to them or not. They're not even questioning it. So it all starts with the fact that we do think about, how do I experience life? Is this the way I want? We question if this is something that we want or not. Most people don't even think about it. And that in itself is already something that makes us nervous because we think about, okay, I'm doing something wrong. People don't experience their life as boring. They don't feel it to be boring. So I'm doing something wrong. And I'm the one who's weird. And I'm the one who's doing it wrong. Because apparently nobody else sees it this way. But that's of course not the case. So many people live a boring life also from their perspective. They're just ignorant towards it. So please take that pressure off of you. You are just more aware of it. But think of it like this. Because you're aware of it, you can change it. You can make something out of it. You can use all that knowledge to live a life that is extraordinary. The other thing to mention is that boredom also comes from a fact of not engaging with life. Most people, they do engage in life, but in a way that is not healthy. So people cannot be bored by something that is uncomfortable, right? I mean, if you're going through constant fights every day, your life is not boring. You're horrified by your life. It is draining, but it's not boring. But because we as INFJs tend to be observers, we tend to want to create harmony. We tend to, pull ourselves away from situations that are too demanding in this kind of sense. We tend to fall into this category of my life is boring. And this is also the reason that when we do have something in our life that brings us excitement, we're willing to stay there, although this excitement might not be healthy. It might be because you have somebody who's demanding way too much attention, somebody who drains your energy, a situation that makes you feel like you're walking on eggshells, but at least it makes you feel alive. And isn't that the worst feeling, to be bored with life, right? That you're actually willing to get in situations that make you feel like there are thousands of needles coming towards you, in relationships that are not healthy and so on, just to feel something. I mean, this is also the reason why so many INFJs have been in situations with narcissists, right? Because then you have this intensity. But that's, of course, not what we want. When we want a life that is not boring, we're also talking about a happy, exciting life. A life that you want, a life that is giving you energy, and a life that is creating more and more abundance for you and for others. That's what we want to get to. So how do we make that shift? Firstly, we have to recognize that we are very strong mentally and emotionally. Why is this important? Well, it's important because the everyday thing isn't really challenging to us. The thing that makes our life exciting is if we tap into our potential, if we actually grow. And in order to grow, we have to do something that takes us out of our comfort zone but doesn't overwhelm us. And this is always on your terms, right? It's not about doing something that challenges somebody else, because that might be not challenging enough for you, or it might be too challenging for you. What we need is the amount of challenge that is necessary for you to grow. And because we're mentally and emotionally strong, we have to do things that are out of the ordinary. We have to do things that make us feel we're going to be even more different. I mean, think about it. We as INFJs, we go through life and we think we're different all the time. We're different than our friends. We're different than our coworkers. What? And now I'm supposed to do something that makes me even more extreme? Yes. Because if you think your life is boring, then you're not tapping into what is possible for you. We have to recognize this. Once you start doing things that get you out of that rut and out of this ordinary, mundane, mediocre life, you're not going to get excited about dysfunctional relationships just because they make you feel some kind of intensity. And this is not just about relationships. This is also about doing unhealthy behavior, having habits that are not good for you. Drinking, smoking, all of those things, things that people do in order to feel something. Guess what? If you are creating a life that excites you so much, all of those other things won't matter anymore. Because if your life is up here, all those things that were up here aren't really interesting to you anymore. Before, your life was here. It was all plain and dull. And when you had those things that might felt like a relief, you were willing to go there. But now, if your life is over here, those things are not even a challenge. They're not something that is interesting to you, because you, by doing healthy stuff, by doing things that actually make your life better, feel already more excited about life than you ever had before. And that's where we want to get to. So how is that connected with the fact that we're emotionally and mentally strong? Well, because we are emotionally and mentally strong, we can do things others can't. And in most situations, we recognize this all the time. We recognize that there are things we can do and others cannot. We're just not doing anything about it, because we feel the moment we actually take action and do the things that seem possible to us but will require a lot of effort on other people's parts, they would feel like, we're taking something away from them. Or it would mean that you think you're better than them, or you would just show them that you don't need them. All of those subconscious fears that we carry with us all the time. All those things that are keeping us from taking action that will make our lives extraordinary and therefore remove boredom out of our life. So I'm challenging all of you to ask yourself, what could that be? What could I do that would make my life extraordinary? What would be the thing that would allow me to tap into my potential? INFJs need this. We need to have something which challenges us, which shows us I'm tapping into my potential. I'm not going to look at my life and ask, what can I do that everybody else could also do? And that's where I'm going to stay because that's what makes other people comfortable. No, you're going to ask yourself, what can I do which most likely all the people around me won't be able to do? And do that, because that's the thing that's going to allow you to step out of that box. And to also ask yourself, maybe that is the reason why you're in that box to begin with. Because you felt like there's certain things you couldn't do and you shouldn't do in order not to be abandoned, in order not to be judged. And those things come from childhood most of the time. But these are the reasons why you actually surround yourself with people who wouldn't be able to do all of those things. It's not like you're the only person in the world who can do something extraordinary. And as I told you before, it's not like I look at my life and I think, oh, I'm doing something extraordinary. I am doing something extraordinary in comparison to the life I used to live. But now that I do live this life, I am surrounded by people who take similar steps. I see it with other INFJs all the time, people who are ready to change their lives, who take on coaching or do the boot camp, people who do take steps out of the norm, things that seemed impossible to me, 10 years ago. Now I know, no, that's just what we need to do. And because back then I felt like it wasn't allowed, I of course surrounded myself subconsciously with people who also thought that's not allowed. Because yes, when you do take those steps into the unknown, into doing something extraordinary, there's going to be some kind of, uncomfortable feedback. It's going to make people uncomfortable. But that's not on you. It's not on you to dim your light in order to make people comfortable. And you will recognize this discomfort won't stay with you for long. It will just stay with you once you transition from living within that box that makes you feel squished and not yourself and like you're living this boring life, and then transitioning into a life that, allows you to expand. Once you're in that place, it doesn't feel extraordinary. You don't have to face judgment or those feelings of abandonment. You've already worked through those things. So no matter who says something or feels something towards you, you're most likely not even going to see it. I don't see it. And of course there are people who judge me. Of course, everything else would be just weird. But of course it's way less than you think. And it's not because I'm doing everything right. It's just because everybody's focused on their own life. People don't care so much about what you're doing with your life. People don't care what I'm doing with my life. We are just so super sensitive to if somebody judges us. Let's say there are hundreds of people who, think what you're doing is great, millions who don't care, although they know what you're doing. And then there's this one person who has an opinion about like how bad it is what you're doing. You're going to focus on that person. You're going to focus on that person until you work through those issues. But the way to do this, the way to work through those issues is to take action out of the norm, to take action into the extraordinary, to take action to something that gets you out of your comfort zone but doesn't overwhelm you. I know you got what it takes. So take the steps today. Remember, if you want some more guidelines how to make that process go, then check out the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. And if you want to take it to the next level, then work with me one-on-one. All the information you find in links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video Why a True INFJ Needs an Impressive Life to Be Fulfilled.